Hello and welcome to the EJ Tech Show. Wishing everyone who's watching this a very happy new year. And I gotta say, 2021 is already shaping up to be better than 2020. The COVID-19 vaccination process in India has started. Donald Trump is no longer president. And of course, Samsung has launched their latest Galaxy S21 series. They launched the regular Galaxy S21, the S21 Plus, and this one that we're going to be talking about, the best of the bunch, the S21 Ultra. Now it's priced at 1,05,999 rupees for the 256 GB variant. So an ultra smartphone with an ultra price tag.
Well, the only thing that's not ultra about this entire device is the box. The box is quite...
It's ultra conservative.
Yeah, it is ultra conservative. It's so thin. It's as thin as a phone.
Yeah, and there is a reason for that. We'll just talk about that in a second. First, there's a couple of things that we need to address, right? Now, the predecessor of this phone, which was the Galaxy S20 Ultra, launched last year, it was plagued by autofocus issues, right?
Yeah.
And of course, Samsung did eventually fix that with multiple updates, but that's a problem you don't want on a flagship device. Right?
Exactly.
Now, I'm happy to report that the S21 Ultra doesn't face any of those issues. The autofocus over here works like a charm, and that's mostly thanks to that laser autofocus system on the back over there. So for me, it was buttery smooth. Every time I tested with anything, if I put my hand in front of a subject and moved it, it would be absolutely fine. So no issues over there. So that's the first thing. The second thing regarding that box, the reason why it's so slim is because this is the first S-series phone, or may even be the first Samsung phone, that doesn't come bundled with a charger in the box. There is a charging cable, but no charging adapter. Now, how do we feel about that? Because Samsung did make fun of Apple, and now they've just followed in their footsteps, doing the exact same thing.
Mind you, they've removed those ads. And yes, on the eco-friendly front, it's good that it's going to reduce shipping costs, it's going to reduce the amount of chargers being shipped and everything, but I really think that at least they could have had a completely, like, okay, you can have a sort of ₹1 option or a $1 option. Let's say you do still want the adapter, okay, just give us $1 extra or ₹1 extra, we'll send it to you separately.
Yeah.
So at least that sort of option should be made available to users.
Yeah, and just if you're wondering, this the S21 Ultra works with Samsung's 25-watt fast charging adapter, and I can guarantee you that it doesn't cost $1. It costs a little bit more than that. But yeah, if you do need a charging adapter, you will have to buy that separately. Will not come bundled in the box. Now, the third thing that I quickly want to talk about, this is a phone of many firsts, and one of the, well, I don't know how I totally feel about it, but this is the first S21 series phone that comes, or S series phone, beg your pardon, that comes with an S Pen. Not in the box, you have to purchase it separately, but it is now compatible with a stylus. So that means it can do your regular S Pen stuff, so you can take notes, draw, doodle, and whatever stuff like that. You can't do the more intensive stuff like the fancy air gestures and Bluetooth functionality, but the normal stuff, it does give you that. Now, I do feel that as it doesn't come with the box, just like the charger, and you do have to purchase it separately, it shows me that basically this S Pen for the S21 Ultra isn't as integral as it is to the Note series. So with the, like I have the Note 20 Ultra over here.
Yeah.
So the S Pen literally goes inside the phone, right?
Yeah.
And over here with the S21 Ultra, there's no slot.
Yeah, you're gonna have to buy a separate case for it that's compatible with the...
Attach it to that. So yeah, it's not as integral. It's a good option to have for people who do want to draw and take some notes, do a little bit of multitasking, but it's not like it's completely essential.
I think they should have done this to the S series a long time back, because this is something, it's just a little bit of hardware and software trickery they have to do on their end, and you can just enable so many more people to have this sort of productive experience. But then the flip side is, what do you do about Note sales? Because you need something for people to go and buy the Note 4. There needs to be a reason. And a lot of reports have said this, a lot of online tipsters have said this, a lot of experts have said this, that Samsung now introducing the S Pen on the S series basically means that the Note series could be bidding its final goodbye to us.
I don't think that's going to happen, especially this year. I think they will definitely
maybe not this year, but I have a feeling by next year.
Because there will be, if they are doing it, there has to be more of a subtle transition to it. They just won't go right on, okay, you know what, we're scratching it all together now that the S series is compatible with an S Pen. There will be a more subtle transition. It will happen maybe down the line, but not immediately.
See, I will say this. The fact of the matter remains is that I think this is still going to be the successor to the Note series. The Galaxy Fold series, I think this is what is ultimately going to spell the productivity sort of spell for Samsung.
Yeah.
And honestly, the way the Fold series has progressed over just 1 year, I honestly think that within the next 2 years, they could have a foldable screen that can take the brunt and all the roughness that comes with an actual stylus
yeah.
on that
And
screen.
when their glass technology
Yeah,
improves
the
further,
moment they
yeah.
get that, that's it. Then the Note series is nearly redundant.
Okay, so no S Pen in the box, but it is S Pen compatible, and you do have to purchase it separately, like I said. And if you are interested in that, there are options available. You can go and buy. There's a S Pen Pro also coming very soon, so that sounds really exciting. But let's now dive into the phone itself, because there's a lot to talk about over here. And if you have ever used an S20 Ultra phone last year, if you purchased one, then you're in familiar territory over here, because all the big numbers from there have trickled down over here as well. So you've got that massive 5000 mAh battery, you've got a massive screen on the front, 120 Hz refresh rate display, you've got a 108 megapixel main camera sensor, 100 times space zooms. All those big specs are available over here. But that doesn't mean there aren't any upgrades. There are a lot of upgrades in 3 key areas. So first one being the design, then the cameras, and then of course the performance courtesy of that new EXYNOS 2100 chipset.
I will say this though, everything that the S20 Ultra offered, it felt a lot like a gimmick. And on this phone, everything that's offered from the previous generation on this new one seems like it's absolutely meant to be there.
Well, credit where credit is due. Samsung is one company that does learn from its mistakes. They always do take user feedback into consideration, and then they build upon their next generation, and they just make it a whole lot better. And that seems to be the case for the S21 Ultra. We've already given this the review. Do we have to talk anymore? We've already called it a great phone. But first I want to talk about the design, because that's the most obvious change over here, right? Samsung's really proud of this color, by the way. So much so that they made an entire video that shows how they made a black colored phone. I don't know if you needed an entire video for that, but I get the hype, because this is a very good looking phone, and you get this beautiful matte finish on the back, which feels so smooth to touch, and overall it just feels more sleeker than last year's S20 Ultra. And yes, it still retains that massive camera bump, but now it beautifully blends into the frame. So for me, when I look at this and when I compare it with the S20 Ultra, this feels less industrial and more premium.
And that's again credit to Samsung. Like you said, they listen to user feedback. Last year, a lot of users and a lot of tech reviewers complained that the S20 and S20 Ultra, there was not much to set them apart. Plus, that glossy glass finish really wasn't the best, because it left a lot of fingerprints, it got a lot of scratches, it just wasn't really that nice. And when Samsung saw the reception for the Note 20's matte finish,
with this beautiful matte finish,
people loved that. So it must have been just a no-brainer decision that, yep, this is the one we have to go with, and I'm so glad they made this decision.
So that big camera module, it still makes the phone feel very top-heavy, just like the S20 Ultra. And this is a very big phone. It is very thick, and on the front you're getting that 6.8-inch display. So single-handed usage isn't really an option over here. You're going to struggle using this phone with one hand. 2 hands for sure. It is that big. And now that we're talking about the display, we might as well just talk about how beautiful it looks.
6.8-inch QHD plus resolution. That's really, really good. And that's something we always expect from Samsung. Although, we will say this, this gets the QHD plus resolution, how the S21 and S21 Plus do not, which is for a whole separate video. We'll talk about that.
It's FHD plus. It's weird why they've done that, because that's the first time they've done something. They've basically downgraded a resolution for a phone. We know that Samsung's already won the award for the biggest and best display time and time again, so I'm not going to really waste too much time talking about that. It's a beautiful display, it's very colorful, very punchy, 1500 nits of brightness, and of course it gets 120 Hz refresh rate, which the S20 Ultra also got, but this time around the 120 Hz refresh rate works at QHD plus level. It's not capped at FHD plus like it was with the S20 Ultra, so you can enjoy the buttery smoothness of a high refresh rate at the best resolution possible. Now, just keep in mind that this is adaptive refresh rate, so it goes as high as 120 Hz and it goes as low as 10 Hz. So if you're playing a high graphic game that supports 120 Hz, then it'll give you that much. But if you're, let's say, doing something more simpler like scrolling your social media page,
or
then
reading an ebook or something, it'll just lower it down
to 10 Hz. And that's basically to save up on battery and give you better performance in the battery department.
Now, apart from that adaptive refresh rate and that 120 Hz at QHD plus resolution, there's another improvement with the display, but not on the display, underneath the display. you now get Qualcomm's second generation fingerprint reader. So it's larger and it's supposed to be more accurate and faster. Although in our testing, it seemed to be pretty much the same as the Note 20 Ultra.
So this is 77% larger than the previous generation. And yeah, it opens the phone up very quickly, no issues. But yeah, when I was checking it out side by side with the Note 20 Ultra, it's more or less the same.
Yeah, but maybe that's for longevity. Maybe if the screen gets a little bit scratched, maybe it'll work a little bit better. Those are things that will only start coming to us once people start using it for long periods of time, I should say. Yeah. But either way, it does get a larger fingerprint scanner as well, so that's worth mentioning.
Okay, enough about the display, enough about the fingerprint sensor. The real magic is at the back over here with these cameras, 4 cameras on the back. You've got a 108 megapixel main wide angle sensor, you've got a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and then you've got 2 10 megapixels telephoto lenses, right? Yeah. So one goes up to 10 optical zoom and the other one goes up to 3 optical zoom. And that's very interesting, right? Those 2 telephoto lenses, because that hasn't really been done before. And I think what happens with that is because you get that option to switch between those 2 lenses, it gives you so much better optical clarity and also versatility. And I think for 2021, this is going to be the big focus when it comes to smartphone camera technology. I can see other smartphone makers also jumping on this telephoto bandwagon and just putting all their efforts over.
Yeah, 2020 was definitely the year of the macro lens because literally everyone from 50K to 12K to 10K was trying to cram in a macro sensor in their devices. This year, yes, it looks like it's telephotos here. This could very well revolutionize the way we look at smartphone photography because the fact that you can use DSLR level focal range on something that fits in your pocket, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Why would you ever buy any other phone for its camera capabilities? Sure, the Pixel might do better one-click shots or just like a point and shoot, and the iPhone might have very appealing color tones, etc. But when it comes to outright versatility, there's nothing that can beat the Samsung's S21 Ultra.
And it just doubles up beautifully as a macro camera as well. You don't need a macro lens at all. I mean, you shoot at 1x and you go to 3x, that's your macro right there. You want it even better, you go to 10x. So that way it works really well. And that 10x lens does facilitate the 100x space zoom. That's completely digital.
Now, there's no branding for it.
There's no branding for it. There's no branding. But you can basically zoom in to 100x, and we talked about it last time around as well when Samsung introduced that in the S20 Ultra, and we did say there are not too many instances that you can use it with. I want to take that back because there's one very specific instance I've been using it with throughout this review period.
Oh my god, are you outing yourself?
No, I've been taking shots of the moon, and that's it, right? Like I get such beautiful shots of the moon. You can actually see the craters, you can see the blackness, the smudginess that's all over the moon. It looks so nice. And if you are those those astro hobbyists, is that a term? I don't know. It is really good. It works very well for that.
Yeah, so now we do stay in Delhi, so of course there's always pollution to contend with, but yes, if you do find a clear night, then you will get some really nice shots of the stars and of the moon, because Samsung has always been pretty decent. Even last year with the S20 Ultra and with the Note 20 series, their low light photography is good, it's strong. But now with the clarity of the new sensors and the new camera system, honestly, it is the best smartphone photography I've seen in a long time.
Another big thing is software, by the way. So Samsung basically introduced something called Zoom Lock over here. Now, whenever you take a picture that's beyond 30x, you're going to have problems with your hand shaking, right? It's very difficult to get a steady shot. But with this zoom lock feature, if you keep your hand steady for maybe even a second, it'll automatically lock onto the subject that you're trying to cover, even from a great distance. And then you get that really super steady shot, clear shot, less blurry than what you were getting previously with the S20 Ultra. So that's a really great addition to have. And talking about great addition, there's something called director's view mode in this, right? Which allows you to use all the cameras at the same time. So that's the front and also the rear cameras, essentially allowing you to live switch, hence the term director's view.
Yeah, this is something we also saw on the iPhone 11 Pro series, because although that's a function they baked in later on with the Filmic Pro app, that you can actually use all sensors at once to shoot whatever you want with multiple focal ranges. But yeah, it's good to see that Android is getting that with the Samsung S21 Ultra.
And you've spoken about low light photography, night mode, and the night mode on this phone is just killing it. We saw how good it was on the Note 20 Ultra as well, and I think they pretty much use the same algorithm over here. So this just brightens up everything beautifully in the frame. So no matter how dark it is, you get a very well exposed scene that looks that looks like it was taken during the day, actually. That's how good it is. I wouldn't say it's still Google Pixel level, but it's very, very, very close. So I'm really a big fan of the night mode over here. Apart from that, of course, you've got that 108 megapixel sensor and that 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, both taking very nice shots. Obviously, sometimes colors can be a little bit oversaturated. This is a problem with Samsung's AI, but if you like punchy colors, if you like Instagram ready pictures, then they're pretty good, and the clarity with the 108 megapixel sensor is just outstanding. Also on the front, there's another monster number, a 40 megapixel selfie sensor over there. And it's okay, it's good. It's takes very lively pictures, very bright pictures. Of course, there will be some skin smoothing action.
But more importantly, this time you get the option to disable that, because now Samsung recognizes that either you want to take it in natural mode or beauty mode. So it does give you that option that you can actually switch between it. If you don't like that sort of skin smoothing, skin whitening and softening, you can disable that mode. So thankfully Samsung has heard people complaining about this.
Okay, so we've thrown around some big numbers with this review, but the biggest number of them all is the new EXYNOS 2100 processor that powers this phone. It powers the Indian variant. The Snapdragon 888 powers the other phones in the other regions, in USA and other regions. But over here you get EXYNOS 2100, which is based on the 5 nanometer process, and it comes with an integrated 5G modem. Now 5G isn't really that relevant to Indian consumers right now, but down the line it will be. So this is future proof, so that's good. And the EXYNOS 2100 in benchmark tests, it beats the pants off the 865. Now it does lag a little bit behind the latest Snapdragon 888,
but it is closer to the 888 than the EXYNOS 990 was to the 865. So that's good news that Samsung is finally managing to catch up to Snapdragon. So maybe by next year we won't have to complain about the fact that we only get the EXYNOS version and not the Snapdragon version.
Maybe we'll say, hey, we get the EXYNOS, take that Snapdragon. So who knows? And I think the EXYNOS 2100 is a very powerful and capable processor. So let's not also forget that it comes with 12 GB of RAM. So multitasking, gaming, everything over here felt very, very top notch, right? Highest level performance. I was really happy with that. Also, you do get 256 GB in the base variant. There's also 512 GB storage variant. 256 GB is a little bit weird for a camera that can shoot 8K. You would want more storage if that is important to early adopters who want to shoot a lot of 8K videos and then screen them on 8K video or 8K TVs. But
but then do remember that people that buy this.
The bigger problem is that there's no expandable storage over here.
But then remember this, that Samsung is marketing this as a 5G device. So they're probably expecting you to have like a Google Drive or something with 1 terabyte worth of storage there, or Samsung cloud storage, and then just with 5G upload.
That's true. Whenever 5G comes,
but
do you want to pay more money after you've already spent so much on the Galaxy? Do you want to get more Google storage?
Honestly, with the charging adapter disappearing and everything, it seems to be the theme. It seems to be the current trend that you buy a phone and then you buy things for it apart from that.
Okay, finally let's talk about battery. 5000 mAh monster in this one, same like the S20 Ultra. But
you can't call it a monster. I will say you can't call it a monster.
I think you can.
No, 6000 is a monster, 7000 is a monster, and that's something they do for the M series.
That's true.
And why can't
I tell you
put
what,
it in this?
Okay, let me rephrase. This has monster performance, even with a 5000 mAh battery. So I did a full battery drain test, and just remember that these figures, it's very initial, right? So this is after a week worth of review time. So I don't know how the battery will perform when it goes much longer than a couple of months or even for a whole year. But right now, in my initial testing, screen on time I got was 12 hours, 39 minutes.
That is a lot.
And that is with brightness cranked up to the max. That's with QHD plus on. That's with 120 hertz, everything. And that's how much you got. So it's a monster.
So basically, Samsung is managing to optimize these.
This is thanks to that new 5 nanometer chip.
Exactly.
And also that adaptive 120 hertz refresher. Because I don't know how many times that refresher changed itself while the video was playing. So something is happening behind the scenes, and it seems to be really, really impressive. But like I said, longevity-wise, who knows? But initially, very impressive. Okay, so a couple of quick things that we haven't mentioned in this review. We're going to talk about it very quickly. We did mention that display, but it is slightly curved on the sides this time around, unlike the S20, the last year's S20, which was completely flat. Actually, the S21 Plus are both flat displays. This is curved. I'm guessing they're going for that premium look with this phone because this is the most expensive variant. But yes, Samsung does need to make up their mind. Do they want to go with flat or do they want to go with curved? I personally don't mind either. Well, actually, I do prefer flat. I have talked about this extensively. I do like the flat displays more. But Fine. Apart from that, you do get IP68 rating for water and dust resistance, stereo speakers, wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, and I think the wireless charging is also
it's a bit
boosted
faster
up.
this
Yes,
time, but probably with
yeah.
some sort of special charger.
Yeah. So as far as your flagship features go, this phone covers you and then some. Now let's wrap this up. 1,05,999 rupees for
That's
the
not
256 GB variant.
That's not an ultra price tag, honestly.
Really?
I would have thought it would be more considering everything they've packed in. I think they've also kept it slightly lower than expected because they're trying to measure expectations for this. The S20 Ultra was supposed to be a huge, big bang sort of phone for them.
Yeah.
And it kind of fizzled out. Like, everyone really liked the fact that it had a 100x zoom, but apart from that, it wasn't really offering something super unique over the S20 and the S20 Plus. This, however, does seem to deliver on those so-called gimmicks. It does seem to deliver on all those fronts. So yes, I think this price is absolutely fair for this device.
Let's look at it this way, right? If the Galaxy S21 Ultra was a burger, then it comes with all the trimmings. You've got extra bacon, you've got extra cheese, and you've got all the relish that you can enjoy. Yes, it's a very expensive burger, but once you consume it, it will hit the spot, right? And the fact that I'm using food analogy to talk about a phone means I'm very hungry. So we're going to sign off now, but do let us know what you think about the new Galaxy S21 Ultra. We'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching.